my 378 Literacy Methods field observation, I was at Delaware Elementary School. Delaware Elementary School is part of the Evansville-Vandenberg School Corporation. Delaware Elementary School is an equity school, which stands for Excellence and Quality United in Transforming Youth. There are about 463 students attending Delaware Elementary School. Delaware Elementary is a Title I school. During my observation times, I was able to observe in Miss Carnahan's second grade class. I was able to observe speaking and listening, reading and writing development during my time. Miss Carnahan had a very inviting and engaging classroom. Miss Carnahan had several anchor charts posted on the wall for making connections, retelling a story, reading and thinking, writing, math, and word walls. She also had numerous books displayed throughout the classroom. During my first visit, it was evident that literacy was very important in the classroom. Miss Carnahan modeled good literacy skills by reading almost everything to her students several times and having them repeat after her. At each visit, Miss Carnahan normally read a book to the class, while they followed along and responded to her with the reading. During my observations, I noticed that Miss Carnahan did most of the talking, while the students mirrored her and responded to her questions. All of the talking the students did was task-oriented. While discussing what a good reader was, Miss Carnahan had the students discuss among themselves and come up with some characteristics. This was a speaking strategy she used often. Miss Carnahan read stories out loud to the class while using the Promethean board for interactive reading. She read all worksheets, passages, questions, and answer choices out loud to the students. During one visit, the whole second grade class sat in the classroom while Miss Carnahan read The Ugly Duckling. Miss Carnahan also directed most of the classroom discussions. During most lessons, Miss Carnahan would do the talking and either call on individual students to respond or have the whole class respond. I think Miss Carnahan did most of the talking because she was so animated in all of her speaking, and the students did such a good job of listening to her. The students were always engaged in active listening. This was evident from their constant responses to Miss Carnahan's individual and group questions. Several times, Miss Carnahan would have the students finish her sentences. An example is before making a transition, Miss Carnahan would say, "A transition is done how?" and the students would reply, quickly and quietly. I observed a lot of reading take place during my observation time. Miss Carnahan always read to the class, whether it was a book, a worksheet, instructions, or text. She was always reading. Miss Carnahan was always very animated and enthusiastic when she read to the class. I believe this is why the students paid such good attention to her. It was evident that literacy was very important in the classroom. Miss Carnahan had several books available to the students, and they were posted throughout the classroom. Miss Carnahan also had several anchor charts hung up in the classroom about retelling stories, making connections, and being a good reader. The students also participated in IDR time. During this time, each student went to a designated spot in the classroom to silently read. They had a book bin with at least 5 to 6 different books, which were based upon their reading level and their own personal interests. Students also had reading journals to write about their readings. During IDR time, some students would join Miss Carnahan for small group work on literacy skills. They would practice letter and word recognition, sounding out words, and identifying text features. Some students also went with other teachers to work on more individualized instruction during this time. When reading, Miss Carnahan would have the text displayed on the Promethean board as she read it. The students would then come up and identify features such as the title, author, and page number. They also worked a lot on identifying the main point of the text and finding evidence from the text to support the main idea. Miss Carnahan had several anchor charts for writing displayed. Some included the different types of writing, why writers write, and a writer's workshop contract that all the students had signed. She also had a writing process clip chart for the students to follow along when they would do writings in the class. All of the writing I saw take place was task-oriented. While working on making text connections during one lesson, Miss Carnahan read Lily's Purple Plastic Purse to the class. They practiced writing any meaningful connections from the text. They also wrote in their writing journals any connections that they made to the story. There was students' writing posted in the hallway wall right outside of the classroom. These writings were about the students' idea of the best animal on the planet. These were typed and posted exactly as the students wrote them with no corrections made. Each writing also had a picture of the best animal in the world. Writing development was an important concept in the classroom. Students' writing was encouraged and was always task-oriented. Ms. Carnahan promoted writing development by having several anchor writing charts hung up in the classroom, and the students' writing was displayed in the hallway. Overall, I was very impressed with Ms. Carnahan and her second grade class. All the students were so well behaved and such good listeners. Ms. Carnahan did a great job of modeling good literacy skills. She made sure all students' work was meaningful and task-oriented. Ms. Carnahan made literacy very important to her students. She put great emphasis on reading and writing development. She stressed the importance of making connections to text, identifying the author's message, and finding evidence from the text to support the main idea. I'm glad I was able to observe in Ms. Carnahan's classroom. She was a great model for literacy development and ways to teach literacy development. I know I will remember many of the literacy strategies she used in her classroom. It was great to see her get the students so excited and involved in their literacy development.